Selamat siang to Madam Shapina. My name is Lavinda Anak Waftajin. My FIC number 71865. Today I will present my final year project, which is titled University Students' Perspective on Cyberbullying in Kuching, Malaysia. The first one is Chapter 1, Background of the Study. In several countries, studies have been done to determine the occurrence of cyberbullying and its effect on victims of cyberbullying. Cyberbullying has no limit because of the secrecy on the internet, and this has caused many youth to have been driven to participate in cyberbullying. Human rights and cyberbullying are strongly connected because cyberbullying most frequently violated the right of life. Next is problem statement. In Penang, a young girl committed suicide after false information about her was shared on Facebook. And she also left behind a message saying that she had been the victim of cyberbullying when her family discovered her dead body by suicide at their home. 85% of university students mentioned that cyberbullying harmed their educational achievement, particularly their marks. When cyberbullying occurs on social media, it violates human rights, whereas cyberbullying put people's right to life at stake. Next is research question. In this research, there are 3 research questions. The first one is, what is the impact of cyberbullying on victims in Kuching, Malaysia? And the second one is, what is the level of awareness of university students toward the form of cyberbullying in Kuching, Malaysia? And the third one is, what is the effect of cyberbullying from a human rights perspective? Next is research objective, to identify the impact of cyberbullying on victims in Kuching, Malaysia, to explore the level of awareness of university students toward the form of cyberbullying in Kuching, Malaysia. Next is to study the effect of cyberbullying from a human rights perspective. Next is significance of study, trying to educate people about the impact of cyberbullying on victims, to give awareness to people to know the form of cyberbullying so that action can be taken. And last one is to spread awareness to people that their human rights can be violated because of cyberbullying. Next is literature review. The first one is definition of cyberbullying, an action that is violent, an action that was done on purpose through electronic form of communication to target people who cannot easily and quickly defend themselves. Next is traditional bullying and cyberbullying. Although traditional bullying and cyberbullying have many similarities in area of strategy and approach, there are also numerous differences. For example, cyberbullying enables the perpetrator to hide behind a computer and hide their identity. Meanwhile, traditional bullying cannot hide their identity. Next is human rights concept. Individuals have obligation as well, where they must protect the right of others people when pursuing their own human rights. Next is the impact of cyberbullying. Because of cyberbullying, over one among victims have had at least one indication of having stress, which is 32% and 31% were sad. The victim also have an indication of being worried, which is 90%, while 80% were ashamed. Next is type of cyberbullying. There are 7 types of cyberbullying, but I only put three on the slide. The first one is harassment. A specific type of cyberbullying includes sending a victim a series of insulting texts. And the second one is denigration, refer to false and negative information about other people or targeted people. And the last one is cyber stalking, the practice of stalking an individual using online communication to send insult and make threats to them continuously. Next is chapter 3, research methodology. The first one is method, using a mixed method. Quantitative method use SPSS to analyze the data. Qualitative method, the researcher use past research to support data from the questionnaire that will be analyzed using SPSS. And the primary data used is in an online questionnaire through Google Form, and the secondary data is used journal, ebook, and articles. And also use non-probability sampling, which is snowball sampling. And the next one is research paradigm, interpretivism, where this research paradigm can help to get an insight into the university student perspective. And next is research design, which is descriptive research to obtain information that will assist the researcher in answering what, when, and how questions about a certain group. And the next is population sampling. The target respondent will be consisting of male and female university students in Unimas in Kuching, Sarawak between the age of 18 to 36. And next is chapter 4, findings and analysis. The first section is to identify the impact of cyberbullying on victims. The first question is, do you believe cyberbullying creates psychological and emotional trauma for students? According to the figure, 49 respondents, which is 70%, strongly agree with the statement. Meanwhile, 17 respondents, which is 24.3%, agree with the statement. Furthermore, there are 3 respondents and 1 respondent who neutral and strongly disagree with the statement, respectively. However, there are no respondents who choose to disagree with the statement. This is because Biran and Lee 2005 mentioned that when students are cyberbullied, they feel emotionally furious, unhappy, and upset. School performance, achievement, and poor concentration are often a source of concern. Then, according to research, cyberbullying involves emotional and physical harm to helpless victims along with psychology issues such as backaction, drinking alcohol, or smoking. Next is the second question. Cyberbullying can cause suicidal behavior. According to the figure, there are 43 respondents with a percentage of 61.4% selected strongly agree with the statement. Meanwhile, there are 20 respondents who selected agree. Then there are 5 respondents who are the same as 7.1% selected neutral for the statement. However, there is 1 respondent who selected strongly disagree and agree with the statement. This study has shown that cyberbullying can cause suicidal behavior, whereas in comprehensive research, John 2018 found that compared to non-victims, cyberbullying victims are more likely to conduct self and suicide behavior. Next is Section C, to explore the level of awareness of university students toward the form of cyberbullying. The first question is, cyberbullying send message with insult or sexual content to you. Based on the figure, most of the respondents, which were 27 respondents, equivalent to 38.6%, agree with the statement, followed by 32.9% respondents that are strongly agree. Then 13 respondents choose neutral, while 6 respondents choose to disagree, but only 1 respondent strongly disagree with the statement. This is because in survey in 2002 at the University of New Hampshire, 10% to 50% of 339 students reported having frequent email or instant message that threatened, attack, or tormented them. Next is question 2. Under section C, cyberbullying posts a bad rumor about you to harm your reputation. Based on the figure, most of the respondents, which were 28 respondents, equivalent to 40%, agree with the statement, followed by 20 respondents that strongly agree with the statement, which is 28.6%. Then 12 respondents choose neutral, while 8 respondents choose to disagree, but only 2 respondents strongly disagree with the statement. As stated by Shaw and Wong, 2013, 14.2% of people have reported that someone has spread rumor or gossip about them to the public. Then 7% of people also reported that there are people who damage their reputation at their work or school by spreading fake information about them on organization, platform, or online board. And next is section D, to study the effect of cyberbullying from a human rights perspective. The first question is, cyberbullying is a violation of privacy regardless of the intent of the perpetrator. According to the figure, 40 respondents with a percentage of 57.1% selected strongly agree with the statement. Meanwhile, there are 90 respondents, which is 27.1%, who selected agree. Then there are 8 respondents selected neutral for the statement. However, 2 respondents and 1 respondent selected disagree and strongly disagree with the statement respectively. This is because, according to the United Nations Declaration of Human Rights, 1948, Article 12, no one shall be subjected to arbitrary interference with his privacy, family, home, or correspondence, nor to attack upon his honor or reputation. According to Moluzo and Lower 2012, a large majority of people consider that cyberbullying is unethical and violate one's privacy. This opinion is supported by the fact that 37% of the respondents feel that cyberbullying is unethical and violate their privacy. Next is question 2. Cyberbullying can damage individual human dignity. From the data analysis, there are about 41 respondents, which is 58.6% out of 70 respondents who selected strongly agree with the statement, meanwhile 19 respondents selected agree. However, there are 9 and 1 respondent who selected neutral and strongly disagree with the statement accordingly, but no respondents selected disagree option. Furthermore, the humiliation post has the potential to be spread widely and seen by others. This can cause the individual to be humiliated, whereby their dignity as a human being can be damaged and affected by society because it can be affected by the cyberbullying because society might judge them. This has been stated in the 5th article of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, which is no one shall be tortured or subjected to cruel, barbaric, or degrading treatment or punishment. And next is chapter 5, discussion and conclusion. Summary of the study. In the finding, it can be said that cyberbullying has a great impact on the victim, especially on their mental health and academic achievement. One of the impact of cyberbullying on victim can cause psychological and emotional trauma for the student. Next is based on the study, most of the respondents agree that they are aware of the form of cyberbullying, especially when they were asked if they agree if cyberbullying send message with insult or sexual content to them, showing that it can be said that almost all people might have to face the same issue as the respondent. And as a matter of fact, cyberbullying and human rights are also connected, as cyberbullying are a violation of people's privacy because cyberbullying can steal someone's private information then spread it to the public and cause someone to feel their rights are violated and not respected by others. Next is contribution of the study. The first one is give awareness to society to make them aware that cyberbullying is more dangerous than traditional bullying. The second one is make everyone aware of the human right and help the government to make a better policy or strategy to overcome this issue. Next is limitation of the study. The first one is lacking past research on the matter. Since the research focused on cyberbullying in Kuching, Malaysia, there is not much material regarding cyberbullying in Kuching, Malaysia, which is make it challenging for the researcher to study the issue and collect the data. And also not much material regarding cyberbullying among university students from Malaysia. And also cyberbullying is a very recent issue. There is a lot of research that repeat previous research. This might be one of the study potential flaws. And next is time constraint. When conducting this research, the research has faced time constraint as a limitation. Because of the time constraint, the research managed to get 70 respondents to answer the Google form questionnaire, when in the beginning, the researcher targeted 100 respondents to answer the questionnaire. Next is recommendation. Interview university students and ask them what they truly think of cyberbullying. The interview also can be done by asking the university student if they have become victim of cyberbullying. It is recommended that future research can be done on how the victim deal with the cyberbullying and the action that were taken by them in dealing with cyberbullying. It is recommended that the research on cyberbullying among university students should be done more on, as there is much research done on cyberbullying among children and youth. And that's all from me. Thank you for listening.